Hey, ladies, welcome to today's episode. Today, we are going to be chatting about essentially 3 ways that I'm increasing content production this year as a Christian business coach, but ultimately, like some backend stuff that we have going on, because I've been talking a lot about how we're working on the backend, and I just wanted you to be aware of some of the things that I'm trying to focus on personally when it comes to actual content that we are creating as a team. And with this, you guys, I am going to be creating more content without spending a lot more time, which is the other thing that I wanted to chat about today. So I hope it gives you great ideas. And yeah, let's go. Are you a Holy Spirit-led woman called to build a faith-based online business that disrupts the culture, sets people free, and leaves a legacy for the generations? If so, welcome to the Set Apart Online Business Podcast, the podcast for Christian coaches, course creators, entrepreneurs, and ministry leaders who are ready to scale to 6 and 7 figures without compromising their calling, and all while building set-apart families and set-apart businesses. I'm your host, Ashley June, MBA, 7-figure business coach, homeschool mama of 3, and founder of Eden, the Mastermind, and the Selah Collective group coaching program. I help women like you launch, grow, and scale biblically based online businesses that create income, impact, and kingdom legacy in less time. I'm talking 5 to 15 hours a week. You can build a life of freedom for your family through building generational wealth, and all while having fun. So yes, ladies, I am often surfing in Costa Rica or sneaking away on ski trips in our beautiful Colorado mountains with my little crew. Here, we talk about business strategy, funnels, sales, launching, scaling, motherhood, culture, and the Holy Spirit edge of entrepreneurship. Because building a set-apart online business means stepping into the business battlefield with boldness, discernment, and the armor of God. Because God has set you apart and you don't have to build your online business like the world. So grab your electrolytes or reheat that same cup of coffee for the 3rd time, and let's step into today's episode with big visions and radical boldness. Let's go, girls. Okay, ladies, this is going to be something fun to talk about. You know, we are getting into 2026, and one of the things that I keep hearing is that this is kind of like the year to go all in on content, right? So a lot of people are kind of saying that like you need to really focus on consistently building your email list every day, which that's something I've always tried to do, but I'm trying to make a even more concerted effort to do that in unison with live events and my evergreen funnel and all the stuff, right? But inside of this, you need more touch points and ways for people to connect with you, hear more of the behind the scenes, the pain points that they're experiencing, what's actually happening in your paid communities or in your client communities or with your clients, right? And so I have been working on behind the scenes things to increase content production as a team without significantly working more this year. Okay. So I want to talk about that today because hopefully it will just kind of give you some ideas of the content that I'm actually like physically working on versus like just sending to my team to technically repurpose, I guess you could say. And it's going to be good. So before I get into the nitty gritty though, I invite you to download our 0 to 100K guide. This guide is meant to essentially show you the action steps that I took to get to my first 6 figures online as a Holy Spirit-led online business owner. And you're going to get to hear some of my story, but then like the tactical, tangible steps that I had to take to do that, because I absolutely do think there is an order if you're, especially trying to get to that first 6 figures. I think that there is one very strategic way to do this, and I want to share with you how I did this, right? So go to the link in the show notes to officially download the 100K guide. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's like 40 plus pages. So you're going to get lots of information, look at my numbers, all the things and whatnot. So go to the link in the show notes once again to download the 0 to 100K guide. So, Okay, so as we're, looking into 2026, I've been talking about kind of recently on the podcast that I am really working on optimizing kind of like backend things and refining things. And to be honest, I'm like integrating new systems into my online business that I've been wanting to work on for a while, but maybe didn't have some of the manpower, or energy to kind of like push a project through and all the things. And so I'm kind of taking the next 6 months in my company and saying, we are going to push and we are going to be, changing some things, adding some new dynamics, and just kind of changing pieces of how we show up online. And I'm like, how do I do this without working more, right? And not that it's all about not working more, right? But I'm like, how do I do this where I don't get burnt out on content creation, right? Because I don't really love being a content creator. I do like coming in and talking on the podcast, all the things, but like, I don't love, writing just tons of copy that repeats itself, or feeling like I have to kind of like tap into that like marketing creative part of my brain, right? Like on demand, like I prefer to be like, I'm more of a creative when I'm like inspired, right? So like, I don't like sometimes like the discipline of having to create something just to create something. And if I do have to do it, I need a system that I can actually follow and something that I'm not going to get burnt out creating or doing, right? And so that's actually one of the reasons that my podcast has been something that I've been very consistent with, because it's been a type of content creation that I have been able to stay consistent with since 2021. Like, it works for me and it's easy, right? And I think I like speaking instead of writing. And not that I don't like to write, but I don't like to write in a forced way. It's much easier for me to, go and speak, right? And specifically podcasts too, you guys, because like I am literally recording this in my pajamas right now, okay? You don't have a video on me, all the things, right? I'm in my pajamas right now. And they're really cute. I got them for Christmas. They're like a light pink and white pajama that are candy striped. I was telling my husband, I was like, I kind of look like a lollipop, or like I should be in Candyland right now. Anyway, all that to say, when I'm talking about content creation, I have to build like a system, or I have to be behind the scenes in content creation with stuff that I'm actually going to be consistent and actually do, right? Like, I'm not just going to sign up to go create all this content or these systems that I just dread like doing. I have to, pick something that's going to work for my life, and not completely like change or kind of get me, doing something that I just dread all the time, right? So anyway, as we're just kind of thinking about this, it's not even like changing per se. Like, it's more so like adding, content, refining it, increasing the amount, but also like doing it in a way that is sustainable. So I am working like a dog right now, though, prepping for this, you guys. So like, I'm doing a ton of behind the scenes work right now, really trying to make sure my eyes are on these like different pieces of my business and places that really matter. And I'm also building in systems to like really un-AI things, and discussing this with team and really trying to train them on this, because I also think it's really important that you're not just like creating more content, that like you're creating stuff that has actual substance, right, for your audience. And so anyway, I really just wanted to kind of talk about 3 things that I'm going to be doing to increase content production, but then also batch it so it's just not so complicated. Okay, so first and foremost, you guys, my podcast, okay? So, I use my podcast and that kind of drives my weekly content strategies, okay? We have very intensive protocols for this to make sure we're structuring things correctly, the voice is on, how we link things, all the things, because it's just bigger than just posting content, right? You're like, okay, well, how do I post content and create a blog that's going to get me, found, like number 1 on Google, right? Like, what are the keywords? Where am I going to link things? Like, what is this going to look like, right? So like, I've had to think through all those behind the scenes content things, in order to optimize my businesses, or my business in other areas, right? But in this, whenever I create a protocol or a system for this stuff, whether it's content creation or something else in my business, I always try to think about how can I be like the most efficient, but then also not miss any of the important details, right? And so for my podcast, that's truly to record 1 episode a week. Or if I want to batch it, I can record 4 to 5 a month, keep them around 20 minutes long, give or take, and spend no more than an hour on each episode for me personally. And that means, 20 minutes recording, maybe 10 minutes mapping out my episode, 10 minutes kind of assigning tasks for the team, what they're going to do in the episode, 10 minutes maybe possibly reviewing stuff if my team still needs me to review, or like we're going through sort of like a team member change where, I need to be, kind of triple checking on a couple things until they're properly trained. And then creating just any other extra asset maybe for like that podcast episode. So truly, I should only be spending 4 to 5 hours a month on my podcast stuff, right? And this is very standard for me. So, like I said, my team, kind of takes it from there, like what I give them, but I give them the final product to extract the vision from. And then I give them the instructions on how to go repurpose this, where to repurpose this. And we have sort of like a checklist system to make sure that certain things are not missed, right? And so for my team, like if we're running efficiently on our podcast production, it should take them no more than 4 to 5 hours a week for one podcast episode, okay? And if they're not efficient, right, like if they're in training mode, that might take them like, 10 or 15 hours. But when they get to the point of efficiency and optimization, it should only take 4 to 5 hours. And that's including content creation, copy, creative, scheduling, proofreading, right? Like that's truly how long it should take if we are optimizing and like working, from a place of efficiency, right? And so all that to say, like that's how I keep things pretty much efficient. I personally am spending 1 hour per episode. My team should be spending, let's say 5 hours. That's 6 hours per episode, right? Which is 24, can I do my math? 24 hours a week on the podcast, but I'm only spending 4 of those 24 hours a week on the podcast, right? So that's how I like to think about things. Like, how can I make it so I can like step out of day-to-day content creation, and like truly limit how much time I am spending on things, right? So right there. So we're just going to say an hour a week for me, hour per episode. That's kind of like what I'm committed to with podcast stuff, right? And that's a very easy flow. That's kind of like the minimum that we'll do, right? Okay. The next thing, you guys, is we're integrating some new stuff. And this is like the stuff that I'm working behind the scenes on right now that's taking a long time to create the protocols. Like whenever you change something, add something, and want to like be efficient at the same time, it takes like a chunk of time to structure, to like build this system, right? And so right now we're going to be testing more email, Instagram, Facebook group posts, monthly content that's really about our clients and what we're doing behind the scenes coaching, okay? Because the cool thing is so much of this content is actually coming from coaching calls and transcripts and client wins and things that are going to make it so much faster, okay? And so, of course, we get to use ChatGPT to help all of this. We do need that human person who is relational, in the touch, all of it. I've been training custom GPTs on how to like write this stuff, prep this stuff, extract it from transcripts, and then we have someone who's actually looking over this, right? But I've basically now built out a backend system where one time a month, I should be spending no more than about 30 minutes on this content creation for the month. And that's more so just making sure my team gets the things that they need from me, right? And this is a mix of kind of like, client wins, a specific client story. We're integrating a newsletter. We're shooting for like a twice a month cadence on that, and yeah, but my team is going to take over repurposing things and running through these protocols. Monthly content though, you guys, if I'm really looking at monthly content, it should take me literally no more than 30 minutes a month. It should take my team, once this system is completely built out and optimized, it should probably take my team no more than, let's say, 5 hours a month, right? Like it really should not take that long, right? So there we are. So that's, for me, I'm up to, let's say 5.5, 6 hours, or 4.5, 5, let's say 5 to 6 hours a month of content creation, right? For my team, they're up to, let's say like 28 hours of content creation. Okay. Number 3, guys, is we are integrating like more regular promotions and like kind of like mini live events and masterclasses. And so my goal for this next year is actually to add in just more like smaller things, right? I will be continuing to stick to like a big launch schedule, but honestly, I'm bringing that down closer to twice a year to, I don't know, just like leave time for more, I think like nurturing more day to day, and kind of just like open up my brain space and my marketing space for creating more, right? But in this system, it's going to be repeatable. And so this is one that I'm actually was working on in the last couple of days. You know, how many emails do we need? You know, how many assets do we need? Like updated opt-in page, yada, yada, yada. Like how many carousels do we need? How many Instagram stories do we need? How many Facebook group posts do we need? Like, how do I take this, optimize, repeat step by step, right? And so, because I have to be the deeper vision and like voice for this stuff, like if I'm coming up with a different promotion or a different live event, of course my team can help on these things. But like I am the visionary of my company, right? And so for this, guys, I'm saying that I'm going to spend about 4 to 5 hours a month on the creation of these things when it is optimized. Okay. Like I said, I'm kind of working behind the scenes to kind of get this stuff created. And our systems kind of dialed in and organized and all the things, which a lot of doing that means that I actually have to go build something, run through it, and then create a system to pass it over to my team. And so it is like, it's totally a process when you're creating a system, right? But like I said, like I should be spending no more than 4 to 5 hours a month on the creation of those things, right? And so to be honest, like that really brings me to how I can spend less than 5 to 10 hours a month for the most part on all the marketing assets and creation of these things for my business. And that's if we're in an optimized state, okay? And that's like pretty good. Okay. And I'm going to be shifting out of some other things that I've gotten stuck in. Cause like, you know, I think sometimes you're like, you put so much energy into things that you're like, does this actually matter like on this thing? Or do I have to like make this thing look stellar? Or like, is this design? Yada, yada, yada. I'm kind of letting go of some of my, I don't know if like control in those areas would be the right way, but like it doesn't have to always be perfect, right? But I think movement is going to be more important than anything. And then I would also say that my mindset is starting to sort of prioritize more written and video content this year. But also with me adding more of like my own touches and refinement in this. And I'm kind of saying like, okay, so I'm going to be spending a little bit more on marketing and content creation, you know, week to week or like throughout the month, but like where can I steal that time back, right? And then how do I discipline myself to go create the content without feeling the dread, right? And this all comes down to having the proper content system, right? So I think my encouragement for you is if you took any ideas from this, you know, think about like how you can build a content system that you can stick to, okay? That can be sustainable, right? So when you do want to go increase production on something or you do want to add in a new element, that you're not seeing like a drastic difference of how much you are doing. It's more so just shifting some of the current work that you're doing to optimize into like that new vision, right? And I think that this is just going to be so important as the year continues to go on, because I think in the day of AI, content that is not about, how do I say this? Like content that is not custom or doesn't have any truth to it and it's just kind of filler words on things is not going to be seen. Like everything is becoming too noisy, right? But like we still have to be seen. And so there has to be more content creation to some extent, but it also has to be the right type of content, right? So like how can you do that? Add that to your business, not spend a lot more time on this stuff, just kind of reposition maybe something else you were doing to kind of go buy that time for this new mindset shift and kind of like strategy shift in your business, right? And do it in a way, once again, that is sustainable, okay? And so really where this episode kind of took us, I would say, is that it's more about like the content system, right? Like how we are increasing production, but batching it while not spending significantly more time on it, right? And when I do say significantly more time, I mean me personally, the visionary creating, right? And really passing that vision off, so well to the team, where even we can optimize how much time they're spending on these things as well. So I don't know. I just have like these grand thoughts about it, right? So, but yeah, I think that the Lord is really just calling us back to like a season of like getting back to the basics, getting back to the heart of our message, getting back to the why we're doing this stuff. And I would say that like, as I'm a little bit like deeper into more of the content creation and working on backend things and like just creating these systems right now, that I'm getting more excited about my business again, which is interesting because I think sometimes when we start to like get too comfortable in our systems, we start to become, I don't know if apathetic is even the right word, but we kind of like start to like, we're not thinking about new ideas. We're just kind of repeating our system, right? Which is good. And I'm all about repeating systems, but it is neat because I feel like it's unlocking just like a new path, right? And like a new way of running things. And God's like doing this in my mind and like doing this in my heart and doing this in my priorities for my business for a reason, right? For a reason. So anytime that you even feel like you need to add something, remove something, shift something, create something, like I think we can get overwhelmed with like the creation, like, oh my gosh, I have to create all this content, right? When we start to feel that overwhelm, maybe we need to like take a step back and say, okay, why do I have so much overwhelm about this? Is this because I'm trying to create from a place of no strategy, no organization, no vision, right? And then you got to fix the core thing, and then creating the content is actually not that hard if you fix like the core issue, okay? So mind blown, lots of thoughts today, guys. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this gave you some ideas for kind of like some back end thoughts about content creation, but then just like inspired you to really like go all into creating like a content system, and then like get efficient, make it so you're not working that much, but you can still effectively pass your vision on, and then increase production, right? Like this is the season for that. So anyways, prayers. Once again, guys, go ahead and download the 0 to 100K guide. This is exactly how I got to my first 100K online. I share my story, I share my numbers, I share my action steps, and what you are missing if you have not gotten to that point. If you've made $0, it's perfect for you. If you've made $20,000, it's going to be perfect for you because something is still not clicking to the point of reaching your first 6 figures, right? So we got to amplify, we got to get out there. We got to launch the thing. We have to have a solid offer, right? All the things. And I'm going to break down what those exact action steps are. So have a great rest of your week, y'all, and I will talk to you later. Hey, girl, hey. If you were loving this episode, please, please, please leave a 5-star rating and a written review on our show. If you happen to screenshot it and email it to us at team@wildandradiant.com, we're going to thank you, celebrate you, and we just want to make sure you're part of this Set Apart movement. Plus, ladies, other ladies will get to see this show. They will get to see the episodes. They will get to listen to all the goodies in here. And when you leave a review, you help us pop up easier for that show. So 1, we would love it if you would do that. 2, please share this episode with your business besties, the ones who are done with hustle culture, tired of watered down marketing, and ready to build Holy Spirit-led online businesses with fire, strategy, and biblical truth. I know you have one out there that you're thinking of right now, right? Share it. Hit share, hit send. Okay. And ladies, if you're looking to launch your online business and grow to that first 100K, I want you inside of the Selah Collective. It's my signature group coaching space for Christian women who are ready to activate their calling and build with biblical clarity and proven strategy. If you've already hit 6 figures or well on your way, and you're ready to scale in a place of overflow and rest so you can get to your first 500K to 1 million, then you need to apply for Eden the Mastermind, where kingdom leaders rise, multiply, and take spiritual and digital ground together. Lastly, ladies, head to ashleyjunco.com to learn more. I'm praying bold prayers over your business. Let's radically go do the thing. I'll see you in the next episode.